Today, we're exploring the fascinating subject of business decision-making. Is the logic we apply to our business decision-making really as sound as we think? Or are there hidden layers of complexity we're missing? For this episode, I was inspired by some fascinating insights from a book I'm reading called Alchemy by Rory Sutherland. Rory talks about how things might seem illogical at first glance, but can sometimes be effective solutions. And that's what we're going to dissect today. How our perceptions of logic can sometimes lead us astray, especially when it comes to hiring talent from around the globe. While we'll be focusing on global teams, these ideas can be used just as easily in such diverse subjects as adopting AI or changing comp incentive plans in your company. Let's start by painting a picture with Rory's interesting concept of an XY axis that helps us to visualize our business decisions. Imagine everything above the X-axis are things that are logical, and everything that below that seems a little bit weird or counterintuitive. Now you have the Y-axis. That divides our actions to things that work and things that don't work. And throughout our episodes today, we'll be using this framework to explore where global staffing fits into these quadrants. And the thing I find unique about global staffing is, depending upon your viewpoint, it can fit into each one of these quadrants. So let's go back and we talk about everything above the X-axis are things that are logical. Everything below are things that are illogical or might be weird. And everything on one side of the Y-axis are things that work and things that don't work. And so when we think about this, we have up here in this axis, let's say this is things that are logical and that work. But and global staffing certainly fits into that. I know that because I've seen it happen. But for other people, it could be illogical and work. For other companies, it could be illogical and it doesn't work. And for other companies still, it could be logical and it doesn't work. And so that's what's very unique about this subject, is it can fall into all four of these quadrants depending upon your viewpoint. And that's what we're going to delve deeper into. I understand it might be a confusing concept at first, but one of the things in Rory's book that he really talks about is we generally focus only on this one quadrant, which is the things that work that are logical. But there's also this whole other quadrant down here, things that are illogical that work. And that's where the magic happens. That's where the alchemy, as his book is called, really makes a difference. That's what he's really talking about. How can we find things that might seem at first illogical that can help us to take our businesses to the next level? And that's where most people aren't looking for these new ideas. And that's why there's opportunity there. But first, why does this matter? Well, many businesses today still cling to the idea that hiring locally is inherently better, supporting local jobs, having more control, and a litany of other reasons. Yet these same businesses often don't think twice about buying products made overseas. It's a fascinating contradiction, isn't it? This contradiction is the starting point for our journey today into the logic, or perhaps illogic, behind our business decisions. We'll be diving into common apprehensions about global staffing, language barriers, cultural differences, time zones, you name it. Are these concerns sufficient to shy away from the substantial benefits that global workforce can offer? Or are we letting our fears and misconceptions cloud our judgment, potentially missing out on significant opportunities for growth and innovation? So whether you're a business owner, a team leader, or just someone curious about the mechanics of decision-making, stay tuned. We're about to unravel some of the complexities behind the choices we make in business, and maybe, just maybe, we'll discover that the world offers more logical solutions than we initially perceived. Global staffing, a topic surrounded by numerous preconceptions and emotional reactions, can be a polarizing issue. Let's explore these not to persuade, but to understand and reflect. When considering global staffing, several concerns frequently surface, influencing how businesses decide where and how to hire. These concerns include communication barriers, fears that language differences will lead to misunderstandings or errors. Cultural differences, concerns that diverse cultural norms could lead to conflict or misaligned work ethics. Time zone challenges, the logistical complication of managing teams across various time zones. Quality of work, the assumption that remote teams might not deliver the same standards expected of local teams. Security concerns, anxiousness over data security and privacy when working across international borders. Legal and compliance issues, the complexity of navigating international labor laws and standards. Employee engagement, worries that remote workers won't feel connected to a company's core mission and values. Client perception, the fear that clients might view outsourcing negatively, assuming it means lower quality or attention, and reliability and accountability, doubts about the reliability of overseas workers and the challenges of managing their performance from afar. And you might even have more to add to that list. The thing is, all of these issues are true, but what's also true is it's not the whole truth. And that's where I think people get it wrong. In Andy Ander's book, The Bottom of the Pool, he brings up this idea that something can be true, but not the truth. And what he uses as an illustration is when he was a kid in the pool, all of his friends would swim out to the deep end and they would go into the water and then try to swim up out of the pool to see how high they could get. And the person that got the highest was the winner. And that was as high. They found out there was a limit to how high they could go. But what they found was when they swam to the bottom of the pool, something that was counterintuitive at the time, they could push off of the bottom and get much higher than they could ever get before. And that was the truth. And I find that global staffing fits into this bucket as well. People focus on what they know is true, but not on the truth. And in there lies the issue. There are all of these negatives about global staffing, but almost all of these negatives can be turned around into positives, or these negatives can be managed with proper management and systems. Some will say, I should not have to work that hard, but those people would not be innovators. If you want to be an innovator and you want to do something different, you're sometimes going to have to work harder than you think you should. So you want to know the truth with a capital T? Working with people, no matter where they are in the world, involves problems. I've had some big fails working with people overseas. I've had some even bigger fails working with domestic staff. Because I understand that if I want to do great things for myself and my business, I will need to work with and through people. And even with the bad experiences, it would not keep me from hiring overseas or domestically. So as you consider the decisions you're making for your business, I encourage you to weigh both the potential benefits and the challenges. It's not about whether global staffing or any other issue at hand is good or bad, but it's about aligning with your specific business needs and goals. Reflect on your own biases and fears that could be clouding your judgment. Or are they pointing you towards valid concerns that need addressing before taking the next step?